Good morning again. It's the day after the last video. That was on Tuesday of Holy Week yesterday, the 7th, I believe. Today is Wednesday morning, the 8th. And I thought about it all day and night, and I tossed and turned a little, and there were some things that weren't clear on the video yesterday. And then again, a couple things changed overnight almost in what I have to tell you about how we're going from here. So let me explain a little bit more first, because I don't think I was very clear on our workers, on the staff, and what we need to do. All businesses are under a stay-at-home order in the state, in most states, as you know. And the CDC has all the guidelines about no more than 10 in any one gathering. That's the federal level. It counts churches, except that essential services can continue to gather people under a group of 10 to do their essential work. Part of the essential work is defined as churches, not only for prayer, but also for service for food to the poor. And our rectory here is a site, a drop-off for food to the poor, to keep that flowing. So all of our workers are to stay at home except for those essential services, and at the same time, by federal order and law, all of these workers are to be paid as if they were working on site. So even though they may not be working in the office, they are to be paid. That's called a furlough. And it's a federal law that they be paid. Now, again, they can be on site for some of their essential services. That's why we have Gina, by her goodness, at 3 hours, 3.5 hours, 8:30 to 12 on the mornings. And the others come in at times. Peggy's been in. Mary Ellen is staying at home. Sandra and Wilmer are staying at home. Sister Emily is staying at home. But all of their salaries go on. That's what I wanted to explain. Even though they're furloughed and not working at the office, the law says they are to be paid. Now, the way around that would have been to let them go before April 1st. Any employees on staff as of April 1st, if they have to work at home, they must be paid their regular hours, but we could have let them go before April 1st and not have to pay. Now, I know one pastor who did that, who let several staff members go prior to April 1st so that he wouldn't have to pay them for the stay-at-home time. I didn't want to do that. I didn't think you would want me to do that. That we wanted to keep Gina, Mary Ellen, Sister Emily, the other people that help us, Joe Hipskin. So we did not let them go before April 1st, knowing that we were taking the responsibility of continuing their pay. Now, you may know that part of the law passed last week to help individuals and businesses is called the Payroll Retention Act. And that's what it means, is that it is to help small businesses, which in the business end, we're a small business, to pay these furloughed workers so that we can appeal for a sort of a loan that's forgivable to keep the people on our payroll and retain them. Payroll Retention Act. However, as I've been watching the news, this is part of my work right now, to stay as informed on everything I possibly can, this process is not going well. Originally, it was said that a company could electronically apply one day for the pay for their workers that are furloughed and at home, and that they would get electronically the money that day. That's not happening. Small businesses are being killed by it. They're complaining about it. They can't get their money. They can't even fill out the application. It's a very complex application. It is not the streamlined thing that it was put out as. I have one of our finance people working with Gina very well, so that we'll make these applications and get paid back at some point, in part, for keeping our workers and not letting them go. Eric, our accountant through the Archdiocese, is helping us do that. So when you hear about these things, the government is going to help pay for these workers. It's not really happening that way. We did choose to keep them on out of justice to them and because we're going to need them again, but I don't want to let people go who have been good to us and who work so well for us. We'll go through this tough time together, them and us. So with that, that's what I meant yesterday. I'm inviting you to help me keep these people on our payroll. Keep Gina, Sister Emily, Mary Ellen, Sandra, Wilma, Joe. In descending order, they have less and less hours. But we do that mainly by our offertory, of course. If we keep the same offertories we had before, we're not quite back there yet, we're getting there, but if we get back to the same offertories before, we'll be able to pay them as we always have, and it won't hurt our own balance and our own ministries anymore. So consider that in your offertory, all the ways you can do it. People have been dropping by briefly in the office. People go online and you can see a way to make your online gift or put it in the mail if you prefer that way. Have someone else drop it off. When you come for an hour of prayer, you could bring it. I did mention too that in order to live stream, which we'll do the TRIDUUM, we're happy to do that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We took on the added expense of $120 a month. That's not one time. So if any of you wish to make a gift toward that, besides your offertory, maybe pay for a month or pay for a part of a month, because you'll get the benefit for no charge of having this live stream services on the TRIDUUM and all the Sundays afterwards. And we know now at least April 30th. I think it's going to be longer than that. But if you'd like to make a gift toward that, that would be appreciated. So that's a more involved and accurate picture of what we're dealing with and our expenses, and hope to keep our ability to pay our employees. Other than that, I asked Peggy this morning, our parish nurse, what I should say in her name. She said, stay at home, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Social distance. From who? Well, in your own home, we don't have the social distance. But we hear many stories, and it's painful. Your own children, the grandchildren, what they could give to you, what you could give to them. Your own parents, if they may be aged even. We have to really look at socially distancing from them in order to keep everybody safe. So Peggy reminded me of that. On the TRIDUUM coming up, there's one change from something I said pretty strictly yesterday, because things have been changing every day and the wording is changing. For Holy Thursday, we will have 2 open church hours in the morning, 9 to 11. There will be a brief time after the evening live stream Mass to be in church. There will not be an altar of repose. I did say that yesterday. But the changes of wording is we would put the host, Blessed Sacrament, back in the regular tabernacle. The church will be open for 1 hour till about 10 o'clock. We do have to observe the limit of 10. So if you come in and see there's too many people, just wait outside, and I'm going to ask everybody, maybe make your limit 10 to 15 minutes, especially if you see that we're close to the norm of 10. 10 to 15 minutes for you, and then leave and let somebody else have their time. Father Nikolai is going to be around to kind of observe that and to make sure that we observe that distancing. So it won't be on the sign, but I'm telling you now, there will be an hour after the Holy Thursday service till 10 o'clock. As before, church is closed on Friday and Saturday, as with every year, to really experience the human death, the physical death of Jesus. So a couple of other good things. I was asked last week to make a video for the diocese that other priests would make as well, and some other good guys, talented people, gave just a 2-minute video with a similar ending theme called Be Not Afraid. Do not be afraid. And I made mine and they made theirs. Kara will send you the link again, but here's how to find it. It's directly on your computer, your phone, your tablet. archstl.org is the main website of the diocese. Under that, be-not-afraid. I think you have about 15 videos of us guys, the priests, giving a 2-minute video each. I'd like to hear your reactions. Share them right on that site, or write us a note about that. I think in completion, it's really neat. The Archbishop is there, Bishop Rivatuso, and others. So you should have a link on that. Last thing is just finally, again, referring to yesterday about the TRIDUUM, and I got a little more on our suffering. I talked to a great priest, Father Pat Ryan. He'd been here for some weekday masses before. We were talking on the phone, and he used to be my spiritual director when I was in the graduate theology school. On the phone yesterday, he said, suffering does have meaning when we unite it to Christ. Suffering does have meaning when we unite it to Christ. If we're suffering alone and we can't see it connected to anybody or anything, it's horrible to be alone in a hospital room, to be alone in a home. Even sometimes perhaps when your health is okay, you might feel alone and you might feel suffering from that. In this time, as I said, the Surgeon General and the President call these our national weeks of suffering. But they're not going to be suffering like we will, not by name. We will suffer with Christ. And that makes all the difference. A lot of people in our country are going to be suffering just passively, feeling like victims, like someone or something is taking things away from them. That's not us. As we join with others in what could be seen as a national time of suffering, we are Christians, we are Catholics. Like Father Ryan said, suffering always has meaning when it's united to Christ. So stay closely united to Christ in his suffering with us. Look at our live streams. Review these videos. Look at the priest videos that I just showed you about. Look at the ways that we can enter into suffering, not just having it happen to us, but that we enter into suffering bravely because we're suffering with Christ. And we know that will get us to Easter Sunday. And again, if you want to drive by Easter Sunday in your Easter best, I'd love to see you. So you'll see me, Father Nikolai, and the deacons tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night in live stream, and Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. God bless you. Have a good TRIDUUM. Don't just suffer. Suffer with us. Let's suffer together. And then it won't feel only like suffering. It'll feel like joining with Christ and rising with him. Thanks.